Ahead on our news tonight, the Prime Minister reveals startling new details about an audit of the National Food Distribution Task Force. Government officials shoot down claims of a political witch hunt at Water and Sewage Corporation, plus a somber night on Exuma as the 3 American visitors who died at an all-inclusive resort are remembered. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Kendino Knowles. A startling and astounding read is how Prime Minister Philip Davis is describing an audit into the operations of the National Food Distribution Task Force. The Prime Minister's damning description came moments before he tabled the 138-page document in Parliament. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Prime Minister giving his assessment of the long-awaited audit report into the National Food Distribution Task Force, saying it documents major deficiencies.
18 categories of major deficiencies were noted. These range from a widespread lack of record-keeping and widespread inconsistencies relating to the sums of money handled, to a complete absence of minutes being kept of meetings, agreements, and actions.
Initially intended to be a 12-week initiative, the food program was in operation for 70 weeks, with $53 million in funding. Davis says to this day, despite numerous requests, 2 NGOs have still not provided any information at all, and their total expenditure was more than $10 million.
Given the sums of money involved, the deficiencies are breathtaking.
The audit that was conducted by ATI Company Limited identified nearly 24 deficiencies in the program. Among the specific findings listed in the audit related to NGO expenditure, the audit stated, NGO expenditures related to the food program was concentrated to a minimal group of vendors and did not appear to be representative of a reasonably proportionate mix, with the exception of one Luther Foundation who had a satisfactory expenditure mix. It went on to give a breakdown that revealed BFN Cisco accounted for approximately $2.7 million, HFH Shomani Bistro accounted for more than $5 million, HFH Abaco Price Limited accounted for approximately $1.5 million, BRC Super Value accounted for more than $1 million, GB Food Company accounted for more than $3.8 million, while Sawyer's Fresh Market accounted for more than $2 million of the costs during the food program. When it came to supervision of the program, Prime Minister Davis says public officers did not have oversight in the expenditure of funds.
Expenditure of millions of dollars remains unexplained and undocumented.
The PM went on to insist he has nothing personal against those involved in the food program, but just wants to get a proper accounting of how the program was spending taxpayer money. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Well, Prime Minister Philip Davis also on the defense tonight over the ongoing investigation into the Water and Sewerage Board, saying it is in no way a political witch hunt. Our Berthany McDermott takes a look.
Prime Minister Philip Davis shooting down claims that the Davis administration is conducting a political witch hunt at the Water and Sewerage Corporation. Back in October, Works Minister Alfred Sears said he had directed his ministry to probe questionable contracts issued by WSC to determine whether the matter needs to be turned over to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Those findings resulting in a police investigation.
Investigation is ongoing, and that they are deciding what they're going to do. We are not. It started off with an internal audit report that was presented to me. I turned it over to the AG, and the police investigations are continuing.
Since news broke that an official investigation has been launched, the Free National Movement said it was politically motivated. Well, the Prime Minister hit back, saying that's not the case.
We are different from the FNM. They understand what witch hunting is about because that's their modus operandi. That's not us.
Minister with responsibility for the Water and Sewage Corporation, Alfred Sears, also weighing in, saying it's a matter he won't get involved in any way.
I can tell you, as a former Attorney General, the conduct of police matters is a matter strictly in terms of the police. Similarly, I respect the separation of powers and the independence of the judiciary should it proceed to that.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper laying out the details of a previous deal by the former Minnis administration for the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort in Grand Bahama. We've got more on that in a moment, but first, the Grand Bahama Children's Home coming under scrutiny after recent reports of alleged sexual abuse of a child under the care of the home. Administrator June Hutchinson telling Our News she expects the minister responsible will address those claims soon.
We did have a meeting with the minister responsible and his team on Friday. And based on that meeting, we expect that he, the minister, will be making a statement regarding this matter shortly. And that's the most and best information that I can give you at this time.
Police on Grand Bahama indicating they are not directly involved in an investigation, but if a probe by the Department of Social Services progresses, it will be handed over to the police. However, police presence was found outside the children's home over the weekend as two activists questioned what the government is doing, if anything, to protect children from all forms of abuse in homes across the country.
We want to make sure that all of the children who are in these types of care facilities are properly monitored and are taken care of. And if there is an incident, that it is properly dealt with, that these children are getting the type of psychological and psychiatric care that they need, that they deserve.
The prolonged reliance on virtual learning due to COVID-19 has had a psychological impact on students. Education Minister Glenys Hanna-Martin saying as much while discussing outbreaks of violence on school campuses in recent months. However, she says her ministry is looking to do something about it.
Hopefully this week we will begin, I will begin to bring together stakeholders, guidance counselors, school psychologists, and also private sector psychologists with a view to garnering and understanding and getting data so that we can create interventions to get our young people back on track.
Hanna-Martin addressing questions about a reported incident, that is, last week where a student balled his fist and grazed the principal at L.W. Young Junior High School. Today, Hanna-Martin confirming the student has since been taken out and placed in another program. Bahamas Educators Managerial Union President Stephen McPhee says the union is expecting a written update on the matter.
We expect that at the end of what took place and what measures or what is going to be the consequences, if any, that we will receive a written report and update as the union. And if at the end of the day there's concerns in terms of we feel that our member did not receive justice, then we will engage the employer with that.
It's time now for your first look at temperatures, and meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center with more. Greg, a lot of flooding.
Thanks, Kendino, and welcome everybody for our first look at weather on this great Monday evening. Outside our studios right now, temperatures comfortable, but in the upper 70s, 77 with mostly cloudy skies. We do have some showers and some isolated thunderstorms in the distance. The winds are light out of the north at 4 miles per hour, and your feels-like temperature very humid, 84 degrees. On our satellite, a lot of moisture still being pumped out of the Caribbean across Cuba and into the Bahamas. We had a little weak disturbance passing just to the north of the Bahamas. That's helping to trigger some showers and thunderstorms. Locally heavy rainfall and some severe thunderstorms occurring across most of the island chain. The southeast Bahamas a little clearer, but it's going to be about 24 hours before we see most of this activity move out. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
All right, thanks a lot, Greg. A memorial celebrating the lives of 3 Americans who died on Exuma on Jerome Sawyer is there. And later, the Deputy Prime Minister talks dollars and cents and bad deals in the history of the Grand Lucayan Resort. It's coming up when Our News returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
A memorial service is underway in Exuma at this hour for the 3 American visitors found dead in their Sandals Emerald Bay villas almost 2 weeks ago. The visitors, Tennessee residents Michael and Robbie Phillips and Vincent Chiarella of Florida, all in their 60s. Autopsies have been completed, but the findings have not been made public. Blood samples as well as samples from the hotel property are currently being examined by labs in the United States. Our Jerome Sawyer is in Exuma for that memorial tonight. He joins us now with more. Jerome?
That's right, Ken. As officials in Nassau await the results of those toxicology reports to try and piece together this entire scene and, of course, come up with an official forensic report. Tonight in Farmers Hill in Exuma, there is a special service taking place at the Ebenezer Union Baptist Church in Farmers Hill. That service tonight, part of this community's effort to try and heal and bring some healing to this community after the tragic events more than 1 week ago. The order of service tonight, well, first of all, the event is being put on by the Exuma Christian Council, and it will include quite a bit: prayers for the families of the deceased, prayers for the employees, the guests, the executive team, and certainly our country and island. On the program tonight is the general manager of the Sandals Emerald Bay Resort, along with the Deputy Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Tourism and the Member of Parliament for this island, which falls in his constituency. We came over on a flight earlier this afternoon, and I asked him what was the reason behind all of this, and he said it really was an effort by the Christian community and by the community here on the island to come together and to bring some healing. So certainly some remarks coming tonight for that. This church not too far from the resort where that tragedy happened just more than a week ago. But on this island, you get a sense that people are ready to move forward. But certainly this tragic event has left a stain on this community. And tonight, this is the first real step on the road to that healing process. For now, we are in Farmers Hill in Exuma. I'm Jerome Sawyer for our news. Back to you, Candido.
All right, thanks a lot, Jerome. And this is a story that we are certainly continuing to follow. For more on this, visit Our News Bahamas on Facebook. In other news, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, long calling the arrangement struck by the Minister administration for the sale of the Grand Lucayan Hotel a bad deal. Cooper reiterating the sentiment, telling parliamentarians the final offer by Bahamas Ports Investment Limited was for $50 million, but that's not all.
By November 2020, the BPI's best and final offer for the purchase of the hotel property for $50 million, with government contributing $100 million in cash concessions to BPI over a 12-year period. To be clear, this meant that the government of the Bahamas was asked to pay around $10 million per year directly to the purchaser to help with the redevelopment of the property. This was in addition to other concessions and caveats.
Cooper says BPI asked the government for an upfront $12 million cash credit, a $33 million loan financed by taxpayers, and a 5 to 6 year grace period before having to develop the property. BPI, a joint venture between Royal Caribbean International and the ITM Group to purchase the Grand Lucayan Hotel, agreed with the government to mutually end the sales process after the Davis administration took office last September. Cooper announcing last week that Electra America Hospitality Group has entered into an agreement with the government to purchase the resort for $100 million.
An upfront deposit of $5 million will be paid immediately on execution of the definitive purchase agreement and will become non-refundable at the end of the 60-day due diligence period. The balance of the $95 million will be due at closing.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When we come back from the breaks, Marcellus Hall is up with the latest in sports. And is there more wet weather ahead? We have the details when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
This is our news. Welcome back. DeAndre Ayton and the Suns scorched by the Mavericks. Meanwhile, the Grand Bahama track meet dubbed a success. Marcellus Hall has more now in sports.
All right, thanks a lot, and welcome to our Sports on a Monday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. The picture behind me says it all. The look of befuddlement on DeAndre Ayton's face, pretty much the one held by the entire team as they took on the Dallas Mavericks in Game 7 of the best-of-7 series. It seems as if the Suns forgot there was a game to be played as they were dumped unceremoniously from the playoffs. Let's take a look. Game 7, best-of-7 between the... Well, right here in New Providence, the AF Valley Gym coming to life for the Lucayan Basketball Fox Foundation All-Star Night, featuring high school players from the girls and boys division. The tournament playing pretty well. Good crowd in attendance for this one as the action went pretty good. Private schools won 2 of the 3 championships, junior boys and the junior girls. The public schools won the senior boys matchup to end the night. On to some news from Grand Bahama, where the Spring Fling Invitational also wrapped up on Saturday. The event, featuring track athletes from New Providence and Grand Bahama, was a huge success, with athletes having a great time and putting up some good times in the process. Next up on the track and field agenda will be the Red Line Invitational, which takes place this weekend here in New Providence. And that is your check on sports for you here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Marcellus. Well, still to come on our news, Greg, he's back with your extended weather forecast. Stay with us.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
Welcome back to our news. It's time now for your extended weather forecast, and Greg is back in the Weather Center with a look at conditions for the week ahead. Greg?
Thanks again, Kendino. Welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. That unsettled weather pattern is still with us. A lot of moisture streaming out of the Caribbean across Cuba and into the Bahamas, triggering some showers and some isolated thunderstorms. Some of those showers locally heavy, and those thunderstorms strong to severe. Weak disturbance passing to the north of that. That's helping to enhance those showers, and we will continue to see that trend throughout the night and into tomorrow as the system remains in place. Upper level trough will be swinging in. That will in turn drag most of this moisture out into the open Atlantic. Water vapor showing most of that moisture very nicely. Coming out of the Caribbean across Cuba and into the Bahamas. Southeast Bahamas not seeing much in terms of any significant rainfall and some thunderstorm and shower activity. But as the system continues to pull out towards the east, we could see more showers down the Southeast Bahamas, with things gradually improving across the central and northwest Bahamas as a drier air mass moves in out of the Gulf of Mexico. Boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Your seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 8:59 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through next Monday. More showers in the forecast tonight to tomorrow before things clear up by the middle of the week. Cold front could possibly move in by then. That's a look at our weather. Back to you, Kendino.
And thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kendino Knowles. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Until then, have a wonderful evening.